how can we make people care about sickle cell?
I really hoped that frankly the ebony and ivory thing we have at the core of the film might have a little bit of an impact on being able to move that thing a little bit. And I still don't know the answer to it.
Sickle cell disease is a blood disorder that is inherited from both parents. This disorder is more common in certain ethnic groups, such as African Americans, Arabs, Greeks, Italians, Latin, and Native Americans. Normal red blood cells are very flexible and are circular in shape, resembling a donut. Their flexibility and shape allow them to travel freely through small blood vessels called capillaries. In persons with sickle cell disease, the red blood cells become crescent or sickle shaped and also become inflexible. The abnormal cells stick inside the capillaries, blocking blood flow to vital organs. Persons with sickle cell anemia can have symptoms such as yellow appearing eyes and skin, pale skin, delayed growth, bone and joint pain, increased risk for infections, development of leg ulcers, eye damage, anemia, and damage to the organs affected by the obstruction.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. We have a very special guest with us today. He is the producer of the documentary called Spilled Milk, and I will let him introduce himself and tell you guys a little bit what it's about.
Hi, my name is Jaqai Mickelsen. The film is called Spilled Milk, as she just said, and it's all about my best friend Omar and his experience with sickle cell SS.
So you started this project how long ago?
The very first official shoot we had was in November of 2012.
Okay, and
we finished it, the last edit that I made on this thing was in like June of 2017.
okay, and how was Spilled Milk born? Where did that whole concept come from? Where did the idea?
Well, the idea was Omar years ago came out for my wedding with my wife, and he wanted something to sink his teeth into, and I worked for a best-selling author at the time, and I pitched the idea to Omar, because Omar's really smart, he's a really good writer, and I pitched the idea of him writing a book about his experience living with this thing, and it just fell on deaf ears. He thought it was a horrible idea, because he thinks it would be really boring, and then that was the last we thought of it, and then months later, I was a little burnt out at my job, and the idea struck me that, wait, maybe I could tell a story. And then we had like old school footage of us in high school that I realized suddenly had a purpose. And then before you knew it, I called Omar and pitched him the idea of doing the documentary, and he reluctantly agreed. Yeah, he was at Walmart at the time. Yeah. And
Spilled Milk was born.
That was
As they say, the rest is history.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Omar. He unfortunately wasn't feeling well, so he couldn't be here today. We're actually at the Sickle Cell Consortium, and he came to show us his film. And so he couldn't make it today. So tell us a little bit about Omar and about your relationship and, some of the struggles that he faces.
Well, Omar, I met him when I was a freshman in high school. Omar was a junior, and he's always been my big brother. He was always the guy that, in the early days, he's the one that had a job way before I could get one, so he would always loan me money and stuff. And he's a partner in crime and being goofy and making silly videos. No, he's just like the ultimate best friend, and when we were younger, he used to call sickle cell, when he would go to the hospital and everything, he would call it going on vacation. So it never felt that heavy for us. It was just like a thing. It was part of the group dynamics. Omar's gone, he's in the hospital, but then he's going to come back, and we're all going to be playing basketball again.
Resume.
Yeah, exactly. It's all right, he's gone now, but he'll be back. It's like he traveled for work or something, And it actually wasn't until we started on the film in 2012. I'm 40 now, and Omar's 43, so horrible at math. But so we were both in our late 30s when this started. And after sickle cell just has such an impact over the years. It's certainly not how it used to be when we were in high school and college.
With age, the disease progresses, right? So you said that the documentary took 5-6 years to film. What caused that delay, in your opinion?
Well, it's not really a delay. It's a matter of finding the story. I mean, this thing, I set out to make something that just kept changing. That's the annoying thing about a documentary. I had an idea of how it was all going to play out in my head, and then one thing after another changed. There would be a certain interview with a certain doctor that took forever to kind of get and to schedule, or there would be, all right, we're finally going to get, because we had a sickle cell roundtable, and we finally had everybody in the same room, and then of course somebody would get sick. It was just, it was a scheduling, logistics and scheduling, and then frankly, taking you have piles and piles and hours and hours and hours of footage, and you're like, all right, let's make somebody actually want to watch this.
Yeah.
You know, specifically somebody who doesn't know us personally. Because, you know, that was always the big test. It's like, all right, we like this, but is anybody else going to care? You know? Now, the movie, we had a cut done in 2016, but after that went, we decided not super huge significant changes, but quite a few changes that ultimately, I think, tightened the film up a bit. So it's honestly weird too, because it took so long for it to be released and actually be out there. You're always tempted to tweak one more thing. George Lucas that thing to the last hurrah, you know. But so yeah, we finally got to the point where June 2017 was the very last cut of it. So.
And what do you hope to accomplish with this project that you have put together? Where do you see it going? What do you hope it's going to do for the sickle cell community, for Omar?
Well, I mean, step one, the most basic thing I wanted to do is because, honest to goodness, I didn't make this with a sickle cell advocacy hat on. I made it because I thought it was a really interesting story that my best friend was living this life that not anybody knew a lot about. So it started there, and from here, we just really hope that specifically people who are responsible for taking care of those with sickle cell will watch the film, and hopefully help to humanize this whole thing, because as Omar says, you know, he wants to be Omar, who happens to have a disease. He doesn't want to be the disease, you know, and that was our whole, I mean, that was always kind of the North Star with this thing. It wasn't a sickle cell film. It was about two best friends, and one of them happened to have sickle cell.
And the title, Spilled Milk, can you give us a little, what does that mean? What does Spilled Milk?
So that Omar, like I said, he's like a big brother to me. He's always been there. Like he's helped me through all kinds of ridiculousness. And I would still allow myself to wonder, like, what would Omar be if he didn't have this disease? And because he's so smart, he's a good looking dude, funny, you know, and I would allow myself to wonder, like, what has this gotten in the way of? Yeah, and then, you know, it just kind of hit us. We arrived at the title together. It's like, well, you can go there, you can be thankful for what we have, and Omar's had a huge impact on my life as is, so I'll take it. So with no reason to cry over spilled milk.
Very nice. I when I heard the title, that's where my mind went. But you know, when you're watching the film, it gets revealed towards the end, and it wraps it up very nicely. And it's something that a lot of us deal with, is that wondering, what if I didn't have this disease? What would my life look like? You know, so I think it's a very powerful title, and it has a great impact. And thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to say? Anything you would like to add?
No, I mean, just thank you for talking with me. And the film is available to be seen for free. It's Spilled Milk Movie /watch. So watch it, share it. Hope you like it. I didn't have an ending thing figured out there, sorry.
And how can they get in touch with you if they wanted to?
We've got a contact form on the website, and also just info@spilledmilkmovie.com. If you have any questions or comments, we'll do our best to get back to you.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you
for sitting down with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It was such a powerful, I mean, it had me in tears, honestly, you know, because it really touches you, especially when you live with this disease. It really touches you in a way that it puts a human face to it, and it brings forward the good and the bad. And you know, so many times it's lost in translation that we are human beings, you know, when we're dealing with the medical professions and professionals and stuff. So I think you did a great job with that, and I thank you very much for it. And I think that we're going to see great things with this.
Thank you. I certainly hope it gets a chance to, you know, nudge the needle a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay, thanks so much.
Subscribe here.
And turn on the notifications so you'll be notified when we upload more videos.